Hello, everyone. I'm sorry we just had a minor little technical glitch there, and I think we are all set now. I am so happy to see you. I know I have someone who's peeking around here. Welcome, welcome. I am really excited. This is the first time I've ever given this talk on the 5 keys to finding lasting love without losing yourself in the process, and I'm really excited about it because as a single professional woman who works with single professional women, I know that we're all like super intelligent, accomplished, independent people. And it's been really difficult for us to figure out how to be all of that and allow ourselves to have that vibrant partnership that we're looking for. So, without a whole lot of further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull up my slides for you, and here we go. All right. So, again, 5 keys to finding lasting love without losing yourself in the process. You are in the right place if you are an intelligent, strong woman who is successful in many areas of her life, except romantic relationships. If you're just not quite getting what you want there, if you would prefer to be in a committed partnership, but you're not sure how to find one, or maybe you're not even sure what it would look like. You're just not like, what would this even look like? I can't get a vision of it yet. If you're having a lot of bad dating experiences, like you're getting ghosted, you're just, you're out there, you reach out to people, they don't reach back, anything like that. If you're not interested in what you're finding out there on dating apps, if you get tempted to settle because you get afraid the right one isn't out there, or if you think you find someone and then it crashes 6 months later and the whole dating thing is starting to feel absolutely exhausting to you, you have come to the right place. I can help. My promise to you is that I'm going to show you the exact steps I took to become clear and confident enough to find the love I wanted in my life. These steps allowed me to create and cultivate my own incredibly nurturing, healthy partnership that is fantastic, satisfying, and actually brings me more of who I am every day. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to hand you the blueprint to finding lasting love without compromising your standards. I'm going to reveal why you need to develop a growth mindset. It is key to dating success. And you're going to discover 3 things that are going to help you figure out if you've met your match. I'm going to reveal 3 ways, 3 different approaches to figuring out if someone's a match. And you're going to learn how to stop wasting time on bad dates and have great dates instead. You are going to have a process to finally find healthy, lasting love. Here's the deal. No matter who you are, a healthy, happy partnership is entirely possible, even if you're over 20, even if you're over 40, over 50, over 60, and even if you've had failed attempts in the past. A lot of women say there's no one out there for them when really they're not out there for themselves. They're not really standing in their value, truth, and strength. And dating results start with a strong belief in what's possible, followed by serious growth work and accompanied by the support of a mentor. Now, here's the deal. I'm not here to pitch a sale. I'm here to offer a service. So in order for me to offer the service, I need to come from that perspective, and I need you to pay close attention. Turn off distractions. Give yourself 100% of your attention to this issue. Put any questions you come up with or that come up along the way into the chat so I can answer them later when I hop off of this call. I am going to interact with these posts. So please put any questions into the chat. Before we go further, does this sound familiar to you? Like, if so, just pop a yes or a thumbs up into the comments. You know you're a fantastic, successful person, and you can't figure out why you can't make it work romantically. Like, you're good at everything else you do. What gives? You know you don't need a partner, but you want one, and you want all of the good things that come with having a partner. You find yourself ignoring red flags, and you don't even know what a green light would look like. You're out there like, oh, I thought I found all the red flags, and oh, I missed one. This guy turned out to be bad in that way, or this woman just wasn't right, and here's how she was wrong. You're tired of being the fifth wheel. I hear this from so many single people like, hey, this is really impacting my social life. I am the fifth wheel all the time. And in fact, sometimes I even get left out because they'll have couples dinner parties and nobody, oh, no, you can't hear me? Let me know if you are having a hard time hearing me. I am still on my same audio. Yeah, that should be going. Do you hear me now? Okay. All right. So you take rejection more personally than you should. And I hear this from a lot of women too. Like, I know I shouldn't. I know I hardly know this person, but I took that rejection really hard. And you're getting kind of exhausted. I call that dating fatigue syndrome. You're just kind of getting exhausted. Dating's going nowhere. And you're just tired. Just don't have much left. And have you ever thought, like, if you could just figure out how to find better potentials online, if you just knew where the good matches were, if you could just figure out how you're getting in your own way, it would all be better. The truth is, you've just never been taught how to create healthy, lasting love. You haven't been taught how to find it. You haven't been taught how to create it for yourself. And I'm curious, I saw a couple people dropped in. Maybe you have other things to do, but if you can't hear me, please let me know that you still can't hear me. My mic says it's working, but if there's a tech problem, we will fix it. So please let me know. Once you expertly execute what I'm about to teach you, you are going to be so much more optimistic and resilient. And that's like the first thing people notice is they start to believe it's going to happen for them. You're going to be able to date from a place of clarity and confidence. You will know exactly what you need, how to find it, and you will be confident that you deserve it and that it's out there for you. You're going to find higher quality potentials. It's almost like magic. And I say almost like magic. It's not magic, but you find that as you go further in this process, you get closer and closer all the time. You're going to know exactly what you've done in the past that got in your way, and you're going to know what to do about it. And you're going to find more and more green lights. You're not going to focus on red flags anymore. You're going to find the green lights that let you know you're on the right path. And what you need to know is that there are 5 keys to transforming your dating experience so that you can have better results. So before we go much further, let me introduce myself. I'm a mindfulness-based dating and relationship coach. I'm an ICF credential holder. I have my ACC, and probably within the next 6 weeks, we'll have my PCC. I teach somatic coaching at Mindfulness Coaching School. Back in the day, I was a psychiatrist, and then I was a college teacher, and I've been a lifelong spiritual seeker. I ended up taking a break from career to get a PhD in theology, of all things, and I'm happily married. We have just celebrated our first anniversary. But this hasn't just always been my story. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. I was adopted into a highly dysfunctional family that probably should have had kids taken out, not put in. I was formerly a very bitter divorcee. For 16 years, I was really committed to never getting married again because divorce was so difficult. It was such a painful experience for me. And I ended up, without realizing I was even doing it, repeating a lot of the dysfunctional family dynamics in my family of origin. And then shit happened. And by shit, I mean Schitt's Creek. I don't know if you've seen this show or not, but it totally changed my life. And it was David and Patrick falling in love. And in particular, it was the episode where they had their big fight and they didn't talk for several days afterwards. That episode where they got in a fight, that was where I realized what it was I really wanted. And I opened my heart to recognizing that I deserved that in my life. And there was no way I was going to let a crappy childhood or a really crappy first marriage get in the way of being happily married. However, I also knew that I didn't know how to date to create closeness. I didn't know how to really stand in my value, truth, and strength. I didn't even know what it was I truly needed. So I hired a dating coach. And that made all the difference in the world for me. With the help of a dating coach, I was able to sort of repackage all of the things that I had learned along the way as a psychiatrist, as an educator, as a theologian and a spiritual practitioner. And I was able to look at it from a different vantage point that helped me stand in my value, truth, and strength, and ultimately create an amazing relationship with a truly wonderful human being. And so I was really inspired by my experience. And my first effort, by the way, at getting out of psychiatry was to try to become a life coach, which didn't work back in 2006. But when I did when I hired my own dating coach, I realized that a lot of what she was doing was just really the basic coaching package, and that I had the chops to be able to help other women in the way that she helped me, and maybe even to help different women in a different way, that I have something slightly different to offer. And so today I want to share with you the 5 keys to meeting your match so that you can get started on your own journey to your partner. Key number 1, develop presence. And this is a reason why I became a mindfulness-based coach. You have to develop that presence. And what that means is to be here now, really tuning in to what's going on within you, what's going on within the person across the table from you, and what's happening between the two of you in that relational field. When you do that, you're going to see what is there and you're going to see what's missing, rather than getting caught up in your thoughts, your stories, comparison to the past, comparison to the image you have. You'll see what's right in front of you. Green lights and red flags. It'll just be super clear. A lot of people think they need to get to know someone over years to really know them, to really know if you can trust them. But actually, if you never develop presence, you will never get to know them. You'll always be caught in your story. You'll be preoccupied by parts, by gremlins, by hopeful parts, by anxiously attached parts, avoidantly attached parts. You'll be lost in stories of past relationships. You'll be suspicious and looking for red flags. Being present is the key. Without it, you're not going to notice how your emotional system is reacting to a person. Now, there are lots of wonderful people, and when I was dating, I met wonderful people, and I knew they weren't my match. So I knew that because I knew what was happening in my emotional system. And if I hadn't been present, I wouldn't notice when someone was incongruent. And that's what I call it when the words and the emotions that are coming off a person don't line up. Like that way you can sort of tell sometimes when people are lying to you. And if you're not present, you miss that. You won't notice that they're not fully present. If you're not here, you won't notice that they're not either. When you're off in storyland, they can be, and you won't notice it. But when you're present and you're grounded in self energy from an IFS standpoint, your soul, if you're spiritual, if you are here grounded in self, if you are fully present, you will notice that they're not present. You will notice who and what is across the table from you on those dates. If you don't develop presence, you're going to waste your time. You're going to mistake fear for attraction or chemistry. And this is really highly likely to happen among anxiously avoidant people. And it happens, it's the thing that tricks people into getting into that approach avoidance trap, is that you have fear and you think that's chemistry. You think that's a zing, rather than tuning in and saying, oh no, this is an interest. This is a different kind of chemistry here. And you're really likely to get attached to someone who can't meet your needs because you're lost in storyland and you're not really here recognizing who's in front of you. So when you get it, you're at your best. This is where you want to be. You're going to get your body's signal to stay away. You're going to notice whether this person has the capacity to meet your needs or not. And mindfulness practice is essential. Daily practice prepares you for game day. There's tons of mindfulness practice out there. I so 100% encourage you to just go on YouTube and look for a video. I can certainly help you, but there's help available for you absolutely free of charge for mindfulness. There are apps out there. Practicing every day anchors you in self, and then you are present when it really counts. And I think of that date that you're on, and especially those dates with the right person, are game day. And just like Simone Biles didn't waltz into the Olympics and say, here I am, she practiced, you need to practice too, so that when it counts, you show up for yourself as your self energy. So you can DIY it. Like I said, definitely check out some videos, definitely do it. But here's what I know happens when people try to DIY it. It's hard to start. It's hard to continue, and it's super easy to fool yourself. It's super easy to think, oh, I've got this. I've done mindfulness every day for 15 minutes. I don't need to practice anymore. I can totally do this on a date. I've got this nailed. It's super hard to connect your mindfulness practice to the entire dating experience without guidance. And that is where I've seen people make really big mistakes, is knowing how to apply that mindfulness and that presence, being really self-led, being fully present in a dating situation. So let me tell you about my client, Melissa. This is a great example. Melissa is one of my clients who did the intensive, and she is now in Mindful Dating Journeys. And she was dating someone who, by her own admission, is either like the one or the one right before the one. And she was on a date, and she became aware in that date of her body's reaction. And she recognized when she got fully present that this one who was either the one or almost the one was not present. And they had been dating, they had been on many dates, like 6 dates or 8 dates prior to that. And it wasn't until we really got that coaching nailed and we got that mindfulness practice nailed that she could say, oh, I was present and I got it. He's not the one. He's not present with me. I get it. And she was able to part ways from a place of self. So she didn't make any compromise in what she really wanted and made no compromises in her emotional needs. Without being fully present to yourself and your dates, you're going to miss what's there and fill in the rest with fantasy. And luckily, Melissa was able to avoid that by getting fully present. Key number 2, take a holistic approach. Look at your whole life. And these are the 3 things that you need to assess in order to know if someone's a good fit. So I sure hope you have a pen and paper, because these are the things. You want to know their values, visions, and goals. Do they align with yours? You want to take into account their character strengths and your character strengths and really see that clearly, because chances are good that when it's a good fit, you're not going to have identical character strengths. You're going to have overlapping character strengths, but also complementary. They'll be strong where you're weak and you'll be strong where they're weak. And you want to make sure that they meet your emotional needs. And that's part of those character strengths. And what's missing from this slide, and I am so sorry about it, but what's missing is you do want chemistry. You definitely want to be attracted. If you're not attracted, they are not your match. If you align with values, visions, and goals, they meet your emotional needs, they're complementary character strengths, they're friend material if you're not attracted. So you need all 3 of those, firing on all those 3 cylinders. Those are the 3 steps. And again, I'm going to repeat it because the slide is incorrect. Values, visions, and goals, emotional needs, which takes into account character strengths, and attraction. Those are the 3 things you need to assess to know if someone is a good match. And you start and end in that order. That is the order of business when you're trying to find a great match for lasting love. So why think about your whole life? Why not just, think about this chemistry piece? If you think about your whole life, you're going to find someone who's a good match for your whole life, and you won't have to compromise on what's important to you. They won't have to compromise on what's important to them, and you're going to eliminate a lot of points of friction. So thinking about your whole life is just going to make for a happier, more harmonious relationship. Without thinking about your whole life, you're going to compromise. Most women who don't take that whole life approach settle for somebody who limits their life in some way. They lower their sights, they compromise, they end up compromised and not feeling fulfilled with their lives because they didn't take that whole big picture into account. When you do take that whole life approach, you are aligned with your life purpose. And above all, as an IFS informed coach and as a coach in general, my goal is to help people fulfill their life purpose, because that is how they feel fulfilled. And if a partnership is on that path for you, you don't have to compromise your whole life to have the partner. You need to fulfill your purpose by including a partner in your whole life. When you take a holistic approach, you're out there being your biggest, most authentic self, and you are finding people who love who you are. Because you're out there saying, I am a whole person. This is the whole package. You're standing up for yourself and what you need. Am I? Oh, I sure am in a healthy relationship. You bet your booty I am. That is 100% why I do this. And yes, I'm married. Like you may have missed part of my story when I talked about really getting inspired by Schitt's Creek to find a dating and relationship coach. And you asked a great question, so I'm going to go ahead and just stop for a second on the holistic piece. I am living my whole vision. My emotional needs are met. There's definitely attraction. And when I say I'm living my whole vision, there's one little thing missing, which is I am not spending as much time training my dog as I thought I would in my vision. And I think if I'm going to compromise on anything, dog training maybe wasn't the highest thing on the list. But the rest of my life is unfolding as I had planned. So that's all going according to plan. And more importantly, my emotional needs are met. I definitely 100% feel them. But what really did the trick for me is not my experience of being fulfilled. What really got me to do this is when Matt and I were first falling in love, and he shared with me his dating journey and how heartbroken and sad and lonely he was sometimes looking for me, looking for someone just like me. And nobody ever tells you there's someone out there looking for you right now. That's what nobody tells you. You think you're out there looking and you think you'll be lucky to find somebody. Well, somebody else is lucky to find you. They're looking for you right now. They're trying to get ready to find you. And I want to help you find them because I know I'm helping like a mystery person, and I'll probably go into this later, but this is what I love talking about. So one of my clients, Sheila, found her partner, and I met up with them in December, and he thanked me for the help I gave her because it helped him find his true partner. So and this is all about taking that holistic approach, because when you're out there being you, living your whole life, the person who's looking for the whole life you want to live will find you. If you're hiding that, they're not going to find you. You need to make yourself visible to them, which I know is 100% scary. I get that. But when you take that holistic approach and you have that whole life vision in mind and you're beaming that out into the universe, you are then findable by the person who is capable of meeting your emotional needs and wants to live the life you want to live and thinks it sounds awesome. If you get over focused on one area, and for most people, it's attraction. Most people, like a lot of women, and it's mostly women who end up not taking my dating coaching program, but a lot of women say, oh, it's just the attraction. I want a woman I'm attracted to, or I want a man I'm attracted to. Or if you focus on one thing, which is, I want to make sure we live the same lifestyle. It doesn't matter what your one thing is. When you overfocus on one thing, you miss the big picture, and you find a person who thinks you're too much or too little. And usually when people get overfocused, they don't focus on their emotional needs, and they end up invalidating their own emotional needs and saying, oh, well, what I need isn't important. It's just, I'm really attracted. We have chemistry. This must be meant to be. Or my emotional needs aren't important, and my fulfillment over this life I really want to have isn't so important. And you make excuses for them, for yourself, and for why your relationship is unsatisfying. And here's where you get stuck. You aren't going to think broadly enough. You aren't going to think about the big picture and your whole life purpose. You're going to say, oh, it's either I live this great career or I have a great partner. It's not both. Either I have this wonderful lifestyle where I get to hike and have adventures, or I get to horseback ride and have adventures, or I have a partner. You don't think about that big picture. You think you're being too picky. And I run into a lot of women who think, I am just too picky. No, you're not big picky enough. Look at that big picture. Your friends can tell you you're being too picky. They might say, oh, Yael, for example, for me, oh, Yael, you found someone who says they really like everything you like, but they aren't really concerned about sustainability, and they don't really want backyard chickens, and you shouldn't hold out for that. Well, those are important to me. And I'm definitely going to hold out for that. And I did. And now I have chickens. And we're about to get solar panels. So I want to share a success story of Marie, who basically was dating somebody that she was really felt like the chemistry was there. She felt this person meeting her emotional needs. But when she thought about it further, she realized this person was not aligned with her whole life picture. So in her whole life picture, she had her career, she had a life she wanted to share with somebody, and she wanted to spend a lot of time at the beach. And this person who was so good in so many ways didn't fit that. So she was able to stand in her value, truth, and strength and not compromise on what was best for her. And as a result, she is free to pursue that relationship that complements her whole life. So you're a whole person. Take that whole person approach and don't compromise what's good for you. And I know this is interesting that I'm talking about women who saw this big picture and it didn't fit and they walked on. But see, a lot of women are afraid that a dating coach is going to push you to find somebody, anybody, so they can look successful. The truth of the matter is, I'm going to support you in standing in your value, truth, and strength, and you will not compromise on what's good for you. I'm going to hold that mirror up every step of the way. And I'm going to help you develop a growth mindset, because that is what is key. A growth mindset means that you know you're a work in progress. And if this relationship doesn't work or that relationship doesn't work, it's not the end of the world if this person you date isn't right for you. You are going to be patient with the challenges. You're going to learn from mistakes. You're going to take responsibility for your experience and course correct. You're going to get better at dating over time. You're going to see those changes in yourself, and you're going to persist until you're successful. You're going to stay upbeat and optimistic without compromise, because you're going to be in a growth mindset. And this is what I mean when I say a lot of women think there's no one out there for them, but really they're not in here for themselves because they don't have a growth mindset. It's binary. I'm either good at it or bad at it. I'm either successful or I'm a failure. They don't think, I'm learning. Because they don't have a growth mindset, they don't take responsibility for their experience. They say, all those guys out there are garbage. All those women out there, they all want a U-Haul, and I don't want those women. They don't learn how to do it differently. They don't learn how to date. And I'm bisexual, so I do speak to women who prefer same-sex partnerships as well as women who prefer heterosexual partnerships. They don't learn how to do it differently. If you don't want the woman with the U-Haul, how do you present yourself? How do you front load that whole conversation so you draw in a partner that's going to have a good pace for you? They give up on their dream of having a relationship. So in the last one, the holistic piece, you do have to have that big picture mindset so that you don't compromise the rest of your life for a partner who's wrong for you. But the growth mindset is, don't pick your profession or pick other things and leave out the partnership that your heart desires. If your heart is desiring it, and this is part of your whole life purpose, don't give up, develop a growth mindset. Without a growth mindset, you're going to blame them. You're going to blame all the people out there instead of taking responsibility for your own experience. You're going to give up on that dream of having a relationship. You're going to say, it's just not in the cards for me. And you're not going to learn how you're contributing to your own experience, your own frustrations. And then you're going to keep doing those same things that aren't working. And I just have this slide here. This is from one of my modules on growth mindset, which is basically different thoughts and fixed mindset thoughts are on the left and growth are on the right. Like, your intelligence is something you can't change, is fixed. You can't change you can change your behavior, but you can't change who you are at your core. If you're naturally talented, you don't have to work at it. If I fail, then that's just not meant for me. Growth mindset says intelligence can be developed with effort. You can change and grow as a person. No matter your innate talent, all skills can be developed further. And if you fail at something, you're just going to troubleshoot and try again. The differences in those thoughts result in different outcomes. And this is based on the work of Dr. Carol Dweck, who did this work close to 20 years ago in a variety of situations. She wrote a wonderful book called, I think, Mindset. Yeah, Mindset. It's on my shelf, and it's one of my top 5 recommended. And this is what she is showing in the difference in outcomes, is that with a growth mindset, you're patient. You learn from failures or bad experiences, and you persist until you accomplish what your goal is. You're proud of your accomplishment and respectful of others. So I'm really proud that I was able to overcome a lot of dysfunctional patterns and have a healthy relationship. And I'm 100% respectful of everyone else on that journey. 100%. We are all where we are, and we all can get where we want to be. Take responsibility and course correct. There was a lot of this as I was in my own dating coaching over months. And I hope you can see this slide fairly well. I wasn't able to make the font any bigger than this because of how much text is on it. But when you develop a growth mindset, you have a different relationship with relationships. If you have a fixed mindset, you say, if you're compatible, everything should just come naturally. If a relationship doesn't work, then I must be unlovable. If you didn't learn how to have healthy relationships in your childhood, you just might as well give up. It's too late for you. And they say, communication problems or other problems are a sign that this relationship isn't meant to be. But in fact, a good and lasting relationship comes from effort and from working through inevitable differences. And every relationship expert who has watched successful relationship will tell you every couple has conflict. It's not normal not to. If a relationship doesn't work out, a person with growth mindset says, I'm going to understand, I'm going to forgive, and I'm going to move on with my life and find a partner that will work for me. A person with a growth mindset says, social and emotional skills can be learned. People research this. They know what it takes, and I can develop that skill. And a person with growth mindset recognizes that all couples need to work to understand each other. It doesn't happen instantaneously. I mean, you can barely understand yourself half the time. How can another person understand you? They're not even in your head. We're two different people, and we have to work to bridge that distance. So a growth mindset means you can be patient with the dating process. You can be patient with yourself while you have the healthiest relationship of your life, which requires learning new skills. You can be patient with your partner, and you can keep learning and growing as a couple when you get that person that fits into your whole life, and you don't give up on your dream. And not only that, other relationships improve. And what I've noticed personally is I'm in a really fabulous marriage, and other relationships that he has brought into my life are so much more nurturing and they're so much more supportive. Like, I have a wonderful sister-in-law, an amazing mother-in-law. My bonus daughters are fantastic. We have great relationships that are mutually supportive, and that's amazing. And when you develop that growth-oriented perspective, you're going to find that when you bring this person into your life, they bring wonderful things your way too. The relationships they have add to and enhance your life, and you are growing and rising to those challenges and occasions. I've never been a bonus mom before. I've had a lot of growing to do, and it's been like a total joy, and I love my bonus daughters. So you can have that too. You also get the joy of growing spiritually and personally with a partner. This was one of the main reasons that I wanted to open up to having a partner. Is I kind of thought there's an area of growth that I would only get to with a partner. I was 100% correct. When you get that growth mindset and you, first of all, grow the way you need to find someone who is really a good fit for you, values, visions, and goals, meets your emotional need, and you're attracted, and you have that holistic approach and you don't settle, you have that growth mindset. When you get into that great relationship, keep that growth mindset, because to grow into the person who has that lasting love, you're going to need to keep developing spiritually and personally, and you're going to need a partner who can do that with you. And it is an amazing joy to have that happen, to feel that easing of burdens that you've carried your whole life, and to know that you're making one other person's life profoundly better, that you're helping them shed burdens as well. I mean, maybe that doesn't speak to you, in which case maybe you're not a good fit for client, but still stick around because there's a lot I have to say. But it is totally a joy to grow spiritually and personally with a partner at your side. And when you do shift your mindset, you have greater ease everywhere. And this is the thing, like, clients will tell me by the third week, oh, wow, I'm noticing every other relationship is changing. I had a client tell me just in January, I used what I learned in module 3, and my adult kids and I had the best holiday season ever. And they were going through a sort of a family crisis at the time. To have the best Christmas ever in 20 something years of being a family is amazing. When you shift to that growth mindset, you will have openings and opportunities everywhere. You're going to be better able to navigate every other challenge in your life, because you're going to know, oh, this is just an opportunity to be growth oriented. Now, it doesn't mean you need to take every invitation to growth, but when you hit a stumbling block, you're going to know, oh, I could grow here. This is an area where I can grow. I don't have to give up. And you're going to end up with a fantastic partner and with a crucial skill that's going to help that partnership last. Because I'm not about the quick fix in any way, and I'm not about just find a partner. I'm about helping you cultivate what it takes to have that partnership last. Nobody's really looking to get super emotionally intimate with somebody and really close to somebody to break up in a year or 2 or 5 or 10. I want to help every client who comes my way looking for a committed partnership develop the skills that will help them nurture that relationship for a lifetime of happiness. And here's where people get stuck. Everyone has a tendency to believe their own thoughts rather than challenge them. And I did a 5-day self-liberation challenge, I think back in December. And when I did that 5-day self-liberation challenge, I also talked about growth mindset. And the majority of the women in this call thought they had a growth mindset. I think almost everybody thought they did. But it turns out when push came to shove, they were all in the fixed mindset column when it came to relationships. And this was a problem I had as well, because I think I always tended to be fixed oriented to begin with. And I learned to be growth oriented after reading Carol Dweck's work 20 years ago. But I didn't understand how to apply that to relationships, which is where coaching kind of comes in. So it's super easy to believe your own negative thinking, to give up easily, to give up on them, to give up on yourself, and to think you're growth oriented when you're really not. Oh, I already said this. I totally had a fixed mindset. I got ahead of myself on this slide. And so obviously this naturally led for me from this topic. And it led so naturally, I jumped ahead. So if you develop a growth mindset, you're going to give yourself a chance to learn what you don't already know. You're going to come into any coaching or relationship situation from a truly open perspective. And you're going to be both self-led and open, fully connected to that experience, willing to learn. And you're going to be able to learn what you don't already know about keeping a healthy, lasting partnership. The fourth key is to learn how to assess the fit and fast. The bottom line is, if your person is a 1 in a million, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, and it's going to be super hard. You probably definitely 100% don't have time in your life to go through enough trials of 1-year relationships or 2-year dating to be able to find your needle. If you're looking for a needle in a haystack, you need to be able to eliminate a lot of stuff you already know is hay so that you can have an easier time finding the needle. You need to screen in, not out. And by that, what I mean is you need to know very clearly what your needs are, what it is you are looking for. Your green lights, not your red flags. You're going to find there are more red flags. There are more ways hay can go wrong from being a needle than you can possibly imagine ahead of time. And you don't have time for that kind of trial and error. You need to know what it is you want, who is going to meet your needs, and you need to develop a metal detector. When you learn how to assess fit fast, you don't waste time and you don't get attached to the hay, thinking it's a needle and trying to get it to be a needle. If you don't learn how to do this, you're going to feel overwhelmed because you are looking for a needle in a haystack. You're going to get stuck with the wrong ones because you're going to say, oh, I don't know. I didn't see the red flag. We dated for, oh, we've been together 6 weeks. I don't want to. Our attachment system actually is designed to work fairly quickly. So it's pretty easy to get attached to people, and you don't want to get attached to the wrong one. You don't want to waste any time. Every week, month, year that you spend with the wrong person is time you don't get with the right one. And you don't want to waste that. Time is precious, and the time that you have with the right one is precious. You will be so ecstatic when you find your right one, and you'll wish you had another lifetime to live. If you don't do this, you'll get stuck. You'll settle for the wrong person. You'll get attached, or you're going to give up and stop dating because there's just way too much effing hay out there already. And either way, you're going to give up on your dreams. And your dream is a whole life with an awesome partner. Don't give up on your dream. When you learn how to sort faster, you're going to stay resilient and optimistic. You're going to stick with this. And this is what one of my clients, Elizabeth, says has been her experience. She's super resilient and optimistic. She really didn't have this vision, and she didn't have this understanding of how to sort faster. She would get connected to the wrong people, try to turn them into the right people, get her heart crushed and broken, then stop dating for a really long time, which was my pattern too. When you learn how to sort faster, you're going to find the needle because you're going to have a metal detector, and you're going to have a happier, closer relationship than you could imagine. And I'm not sure if I am going to tell Sheila's story now or in a minute, so give me a minute. But how do you sort? You eliminate the hay by writing a profile that's congruent with your core from self. You write your profile from a place of self. You get fully present, And you write your profile from there, not from scarcity thinking, not from fear, not from screening out red flags, but from inviting in green lights. The hay takes itself out. You take more samples from the hay pile by learning how to test faster. You learn a process for getting lots more samples in a shorter period of time. So you're not spending a year with every person. You're spending, maybe 15, maybe 30 minutes to know if somebody has a chance of actually being those three things. And you have a metal detector. When you're fully present and you are dating from a place of self, and you have really brought all of that into your bodily awareness. So somatic coaching, that's what I teach at Mindfulness Coaching School. When it's in your body, that's your metal detector. You will feel what a green light feels like in your body. That's your metal detector. You can feel right away, is this a needle? Because a needle's going to feel like this. Nope, not a needle. Moving on. And that's your metal detector. And that makes your trials go faster, and it keeps you from getting stuck in the wrong place. You're not going to waste your time focusing on hay. You're going to have 100% courage and clarity because you can trust the process and you can trust yourself, and you're going to end up lonely, either inside a relationship, which for me is the most painful form of loneliness, or outside of a relationship, which is more tolerable, but not as much fun as having a partner to share your life with. Yep, this is where I'm telling you about Sheila. So Sheila was one of my people who beta tested the first version of Mindful Dating before I did the whole revamp in December. And when Sheila was out there dating, she was able to stay optimistic about dating. She knew with 100% certainty that she was going to find her match. Before she even came into Mindful Dating, she wasn't clear what she even wanted in a partnership. It could have been she wanted polyamory, could have been she wanted a partner. She didn't even know. She got clarity. She became optimistic that she would find what she was looking for, and she knew what the process was. She learned how to do that sorting. So she was able to persist in her process and to persist in this very full and thorough search. And it turns out that her person was the first person she dated. She didn't stop there though, because she's like, well, this feels right. My metal detector is saying this is a needle, but let me date a whole lot more hay for the next 2 months and figure it out. She did her process, and she didn't give up or get overwhelmed. She didn't settle. She took that methodical process. She continued to do that sorting and compare everything to that standard of the green light, her self energy. And she's now in a fabulous relationship with a man who fits her entire life. And she has what she wanted without compromise. The reality is the odds are totally against you finding their person. Without a metal detector, you're going to keep looking for hay. That's red flags. And a lot of women tell me, oh no, I need to know what the red flags are. You don't need to know the red flags. You need to know the green lights. Because if you're looking for green light, you're going to find what you're looking for, first of all. If you go out there saying, I'm looking for red flags, that's like saying, I'm going to go look for hay. You're going to find a lot of hay if you're looking for hay. Look for the green light. That way you're looking for the needle. Sorry, that was the wrong direction. Key number 5, invest in a coach or some other companion and guide. You need a companion and guide who can support you, who can hold self-energy for you when you're struggling to hold it for yourself. You need someone who can see your blind spot and who will willingly, gently hold up the mirror so you can see it too. Because here's the reality. Nobody finds love without help. Ain't a person on this planet with a healthy relationship that didn't get help from someone else. Everybody with a great partnership has had one or more of these things. They either had firsthand experiences of healthy love in childhood, great supportive adults, supremely gifted friends, great therapists, amazing coaches. They had a mentor who had a pastor, they had a teacher, they had somebody who could hold that self-energy and show them what healthy relationship felt like, because we feel it in our bodies. If you try to do it alone, especially if you haven't had therapy, even if you have had therapy, if you've needed therapy and you had it and you try to do this alone, you're going to keep spinning your wheels in online dating. You're going to keep hoping that you're going to have that random encounter in a checkout line or in an elevator, and you're going to keep using ineffective techniques because you will not be able to see when that technique is the problem. You're going to buy into your blind spot. You're going to buy into your self-talk. That's going to lead to dating fatigue, and you're going to give up. And again, that's the same as giving up on your dream. And I know that because even when I thought I didn't want to get married again, in my heart of hearts, I wanted the relationship that I currently have now. I always wanted that partnership. This was the partnership I wanted when I first got married. I just didn't know how to do it. I had lots of therapy. I needed a coach because I needed someone who could really help me get clarity and confidence, which is going to serve me no matter what. It served me in every other area of my life since then. I needed to learn how to date effectively. And that was something that therapists just didn't tell me. Therapists never really were able to give me that kind of coaching or guidance on how to date effectively. I needed someone who would cheer me on and support me. And that meant supporting me moving on from wrong potentials, as well as supporting me finding someone awesome. And I don't know about you, but I needed someone to celebrate my wins. I needed a coach who, when I found the right person, could celebrate that with me and allow me to be really happy, because as a single woman, I had a lot of single friends. And sometimes it's hard to be the first one who succeeds at a thing. And you need someone who can be 100% in your corner and celebrate that with you. What a coach does is helps you see your blind spot, celebrate the progress you're making. So even if you haven't found that person yet, you can see how far you've come and how close you are to it. They hold that vision for you and keep you moving forward toward that vision rather than stopping and settling for less than the fullness of your dreams. A great coach will share expertise with you. A great coach has expertise. My coach had expertise from having had other coaching experiences herself. I was a psychiatrist, lifelong spiritual seeker. I have a doctorate in theology. I have a history of being an educator at the post-secondary level, so I really know how to teach. I get the change process. I honor people's independence. A great coach honors you as a separate person. A great coach assembles a supportive group environment where everybody in that group can support each other. So you don't just have that one coach to support you, you have a community to support you. And in my opinion, a great coach holds an ICF credential and operates as a professional coach. They're devoted to that practice and to that profession. Here's where you can get stuck. I'm going to tell you the story about me on the ropes course. And I kind of like stories about me, because who doesn't like stories about themselves? But this one's really funny and it doesn't make me look good. But years ago, I did a ropes course, a low ropes course, so nothing climbing. And in this ropes course, we had one of the activities is they blindfolded us and they led us to a maze. And we had to hold on to this rope maze with one hand and find our way out of this maze. And I was walking in this maze. And they said, oh, if you need help, just raise your hand. I was walking and walking. And I was like, I think I felt this same tree or knot here like 3 times. I must be going the wrong way. I mean, I was walking for a long time. I think I felt this 3 times. Let me just keep walking and see if it it happened again. And I raised my hand. And the whole point of this ropes course was to get you to raise your hand and ask for help. I was spinning in circles, literally. There was no maze. It was just in circles. It was just a pretend rope maze. And the whole point was to get you to raise your hand and ask for help. And if you try to do it yourself, you're going to spin yourself in circles. You're going to go through the same stuck points again and again. And you're going to think, maybe I'm somewhere else. Maybe I'm in the same place. I don't really know. And you're just not going to get there. And I was not the first to raise their hands because, back at the time I had an abundance of pride. Now I have an abundance of humility. I would totally raise my hand. But I had so much pride, I couldn't raise my hand. And I finally did. I was like the midpoint, and I got to watch other people. I wasn't even the first. I got to watch other people just wander around aimlessly in the woods, holding onto the string, not asking for help. So I told you my story. I was a psychiatrist. I had a lot of mental health background. I also had life coach training. I knew how to set goals and get there. I was an educator. I was a spiritual seeker. I was a theologian. I was accomplished, which is why I love working with other women who are accomplished and don't have that relationship. Because the reality is, even with all that I had, without a coach to help me see my blind spots, without the supportive community that she brought together, I couldn't have done this on my own. I would never have had the optimism, the persistence to be able to continue this dating journey, and I wouldn't have had a process to follow. Before this, I read all the books. I did all the things in the books. It just didn't work. And when I hired a dating coach, it all transformed. Now, it wasn't instant. Still, I mean, she sort of made her thing promising, I think, 60 or 90 days to meet the love of your life. And it took me twice that long. And that's okay. Everybody starts in a different place with different sets of circumstances. But it wasn't until I hired a dating coach that I actually made forward progress. Because even though I read the books, even though I did the things, the idea that I had a fixed mindset, I didn't have a growth mindset, I wasn't able to look for my holistic life partner, I didn't have all these skills assembled in the right way around dating. I had skills, I just didn't use them in the dating world. And I gave up too quickly. And the reality is nobody does anything big and meaningful without help. Everybody who's ever had a major accomplishment in life has had help getting to where they are. Everybody. We have this myth in our society of the self-made millionaire, the self-made person, the self-made man usually. Nobody makes themselves. We all have helpers and supporters along the way. So today I promised you that I was going to show you the exact steps I took to become clear and confident enough to find the love I wanted in my life. And these were the steps that allowed me to create and cultivate my own incredibly nurturing, healthy partnership. And I am grateful every day to be in this partnership. I have an amazing friend, companion, spiritual growth partner. And I said I was going to show you the things that you need to leave past relationships behind once and for all. Finally get clear about what you most need and want from a partner. Navigate all of those intense emotions that dating can bring up. Communicate from your power and kindness. Learn how to find someone who's capable of creating a long-term successful relationship with you, the kind that you want. And if you implement these steps, you're going to develop presence. You're going to take a holistic approach and look at your whole life. You're going to grow. You're going to develop a growth mindset and recognize that you don't know it all. And there are things you can learn. Social emotional skills can be learned. You can figure this out. You can learn how to assess the fit. You can open up to working with a mentor and create a lifetime of love. If you implement the step-by-step plan, you're going to succeed. You will create that lifetime of happy love. And so now you're at a fork in the road and you have a choice to make. Are you going to keep going down the road that you know so well and that you've been practicing, or are you going to take a turn and try something different? Here's how I can support you in making a different choice. I'm going to offer you today a free breakthrough session. We're going to learn where you are, explore where you want to be, and examine why you're stuck. And if it seems like you're a fit for what I have to offer, I may invite you to become a client. Either way, you're going to come out with more self-knowledge and self-awareness about your next steps. And this is only for women who are ready to stop making excuses and who really want it all, and who are just tired of the bullshit narrative that women can't have it all, that for women it's career or partnership. You can have it all. It's for women who are ready to do serious growth work. If you're not ready to do some serious growth work, this is not for you. This isn't for someone who knows everything already. This isn't for people who make excuses. And this isn't for women who feel like the only way they can prove that they're strong is to stay single. And the reason I'm doing this, and I said this a little while ago, and I'm going to say it again, is I know that there's someone out there looking for you. If your vision for fulfilling your life purpose includes a partner, I believe the universe, God, Joe, Bob, Joanna, Roberta, whatever you want to call it, is looking for you. The universe wants you to take this next step. And I want to make two people extremely happy. This makes it totally thrills me that I have a person I know that I'm helping, and then a mystery person that I'll get to meet later who I'm also helping and don't know right now. I also believe that every other relationship you have is going to benefit. I believe your whole life is going to get better. And that's what I see in my program, in my Mindful Dating Intensive. Women who come to my program have better relationships with their primary family members. They have better relationships at work. They have better relationships with their careers and come to clarity on what they really want. They have better relationships with their close friends. And as a little cherry on top, they have an amazing partner at the end of it. And if you allow me to support you, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I walk through on my way to my person. You're going to experience breakthroughs right from the first session. Everybody does. And by the third, it's kind of like a breakthrough, mind blowing. I will gently point out your blind spots. I'm never going to not bring up the hard stuff. That was, and just sort of as a funny FYI, the first in-person date I had with Matt, he said what he really wanted in a partner was someone who wasn't afraid to have the difficult conversations. And recently I was like, you ever have second thoughts on that one? Because I am totally not afraid to have the hard conversations. And I'm going to have them with you, but I'm going to do it from a place of self in me and gentleness and love. And I'm going to hold your vision through thick and thin until you make it real. And here's your invitation. I am going to offer you a breakthrough session. It's a 60-minute session. Space is limited. If you email me or do a breakthrough session, you get yourself on the books within the next 24 hours, I will give you a 20% off coupon for the Mindful Dating Intensive, if that is the package you choose, or for your first month of private coaching, if mindful dating isn't the thing for you. So please book your session. I really want to meet with you. I want to figure out if this is right for you or not and see if I can support you. And I have a few minutes left for any questions, if you have any. I have really enjoyed sharing with you what I learned and the steps I took to find healthy, lasting love. It's made an amazing difference in my life. It's made a difference in my kids' lives. I'm a different person with my friends. I'm a different person with my kids. All of the work I've done has benefited these immediate people, and I'm helping people in mindful dating, which is why I'm so passionate about this program, because I know it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So if I don't see questions come in, I'm about ready to hop off because I don't see them, and there's sometimes a time delay. So if I hop off too early, don't worry. I will come back around and I will answer your question in a private message. I will message you the answer. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I look forward to the opportunity to meet with you face-to-face in our own private Zoom session for a breakthrough session.